if the federal Department of Education was going to shut down, why are they still making stupid rules without any kind of like research or backup or anything? Like, I thought you guys were going away. Instead, they decided, I guess, they're going to stick around, but they're going to do stuff worse. And it's pissing me all the way off.
How to survive the classroom.
Hey, teacher besties. I am so excited to share with you that my book, They Never Taught Us That, is available right now. It is everything an experienced or first-year teacher needs to manage the chaos of a modern classroom, including some anecdotes to make you feel a little bit better, because if there is a way that you can screw up, I've probably done it. It also has advice on how to build trust with families, how to manage grading and lesson plans and IEPs, and everything else that they never went over in your teacher prep program. They Never Taught Us That is available everywhere right now.
Hey, teacher besties. Welcome to How to Survive the Classroom. I'm Andrea Forgum.
I'm Gerry Patoka.
And in the background is my husband. If you guys can hear him, he is doing a meeting right now. And this is just what it's like podcasting from home sometimes, is that we're both down hiding from our children.
I'm laughing because one of these days, I want to jump you on the intro. And when you go say it, I want to beat you.
You can try.
And just say it myself. I almost did it. I took the breath in to speak.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't have it by heart yet. But I was like, now I got to do my homework because I'm going to jump you one day.
It's like 7 sentences or 7 words. I don't even think it's that much.
I kind of just be waiting until I feel prompted to say my name. And I wanted to hit you with the, hey, teacher besties, and then be like, ah.
I mean, do it next time.
I took over.
You can try. You can try. Guys, I need help. I need assistance. I decided it was going to be this great idea this year that I was not going to have to pay for childcare this summer because it gets expensive. We got 2 kids. If we went into summer camps, all that, we're talking like hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars, definitely hundreds per week, definitely thousands over the course of the summer, depending on what camps we did, which means I'm home with my kids, my own children I'm responsible for. And I think we just need to shout out all those teachers that are finally getting to summer break and then have to take care of their own offspring. Like they're free of the ones they're paid to take care of. And then it's downhill from there because I don't know, like they're just relentless. They're inevitable. They're everywhere around my house. And I swear they can sense when I'm feeling overstimulated because they get closer and louder. And I don't know. I don't remember being like this when I was a kid. I had a stay-at-home mom. She was home with us all summer too. And your mom was a stay-at-home mom too, right, Gerry?
Yeah, for a little while, yeah.
So what did you do over summer? Do you remember your parents like having a schedule of things for you to do? Like what were you up to?
I remember like there was some different times like I don't remember doing much. Like just chilling at the house. Like we might run errands or something. Besides that, I'd just be like on the GameCube or something. I remember my dad went through like a phase for a while where he would just sign us up for camps.
Yeah.
And we only really did it 2, maybe 3 times. And one of them was like a basketball camp. And I did not like as a kid doing sports with other kids because I was a fat kid. I wasn't good. I was weird socially. I didn't want to do it. And he would sign us up for this basketball camp. We had to be there from 8 to noon every day. I'm like, why the hell you do this? And
Silence
then
is why he did it.
One time he made us pick a camp. And because he signed my brother up at a basketball camp again, I was like, Dad, don't want to do that again. It's like, okay, we have to pick a camp. And he gave me a list of camps. And I picked this camp about the Holocaust because I was into social studies. And I was like, yeah, I already know some stuff about the Holocaust. I'll go do that. And at the time, I didn't know that was weird, right? Like, I just went to this and I think we watched like Schindler's List. And we just learned about the Holocaust.
All right. So I need to unpack this a little bit. All right. This is a week-long camp you got sent to during summer.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's summer. It's beautiful out. Your brother wants to go to basketball camp. And your dad was like, here's a list. What were the other options that you chose the Holocaust?
I think it was like other subjects in school. Like I like.
Were you in summer school?
Why the Holocaust,
you didn't know it?
I don't know why the Holocaust was like the one.
Uh-huh.
But I remember thinking, like, I guess we had just been learning about in school, and I thought it was, like, interesting to learn about. I liked social studies, and after, like, the Great Depression, like, anything before, like, the Great Depression, I'm kinda checked out on. I can't even kinda relate to that. It's like the world doesn't feel so far away when you start getting, like, World War II and stuff, so it's like, okay, I can be engaged with that a little bit because they had cars, they had stuff that we see, just it looked different.
Yeah.
And it was like math club and stuff. I remember there being something math. It just seemed like other subjects. And I guess the Holocaust was the one that it was like, okay, that's a subject I would like to know more about. And that's a social studies thing. I was like, I'll just go do that. And it was like, I don't remember much about it. I remember being in the library at middle school, and we would just go in there, and they gave us a book, and it
Uh-huh.
was like people's like survivor stories from the Holocaust. And we had that book, and we would look at stories. We would just talk about different things that happened during it. And then I think it was, I want to say it was Schindler's List that we watched,
That sounds
like
yeah,
the last day
probably.
and a half of the camp.
That is a wild way to spend a week of your summer. Like what? Because like I've been to like several Holocaust museums, and the heaviness that you leave with is so like it just like weighs on you. I can't imagine doing it like for more than like a few hours at a time. I just feel like it would be so depressing. Do you remember it bumming you out, or were you just, interested in, like, the history of it?
It was just like the history of it. Like I just thought it was interesting. And I think that's because I had to have been like middle school age,
Yeah,
like somewhere between 5th and 8th grade, and we probably started learning about it in 6th or 7th grade.
yeah,
So I
that
remember that being
tracks.
this whole thing we learned about, and we focused on it so much. Like
Mhm.
there was so much like curriculum on the Holocaust, and that's what like I was just like, yeah, we talked about this in class. I thought it was interesting. We'll go do it.
So, I the other day ju what? You
This doesn't feel good to talk like, not only is it weird, but it's also like, hey, how weird is it that middle school me was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go this." That's how bad I was at sports when I was a kid. Is I was like, "I don't wanna go play basketball with these other kids. I'm gonna go watch this thing about this world
about
tragedy."
genocide, yeah, about yeah,
Yeah, and but at the
that's
time, I didn't,
crazy.
like I couldn't feel the weight of it. I was just like, "Oh, this is something we talked about in school. I like history. I like social studies. Imma go to this and learn about it." And it's like talking about it now because I coach basketball now. It's like, "Y'all should have just went to
Yeah.
that camp." Like,
Right. Probably. Well, I mean, and it's good like we should learn that history and stuff, but to choose that and to offer it as like an enrichment summer program. Because usually that what they try and do with those summer programs is like, let's make it the most like exciting, fun, adventure stuff you could possibly do. And they were like, let's talk about one of the greatest mass killings in history. Let's just dive right in with a bunch of middle
yeah,
schoolers.
it's not like I was, like, clicking my heels excited for
Right.
this. It was just like I picked the thing on there that didn't sound like it was gonna be torture. Like, I didn't wanna go do math. I was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I'm gonna go do this history one." Like, it's not like there was a generic history one, so it's like, that's the only event I remember there being as an option. I was like, "I'm gonna go do the history one because that's all it really
Wow.
is."
It is really interesting because I feel like over the past, especially like during the pandemic and beyond, there's been a big discussion over how much time we should spend talking about specific things in history and how do we talk about it and explain it and acknowledge the existence of these people, places, things that happened. Um and walk the line because what made me think of this is there's a place in Indiana called Connor Prairie, and it is a massive so it's kinda those of you who've ever been to Colonial Williamsburg, it's kind of a setup like that. They have historical actors. They have so you can go to, like, the carpenter, and they are making furniture and different things in the way that they would have in, like, the early 1800s. And you walk around and you see all this stuff, and I went to the house where the Connors actually lived, and then one of the first things you learn about the guy, who this whole place is named after, is that he was one of the people who helped with the translations with the Native Americans there, and he was married to a Native woman, and what he helped the peace treaty, he helped broker and translate deported. I don't, but you can't even say deported. I don't like it. I don't even know the right word for it. Moved all of the indigenous people off of their land, kicked them off of their own land, and made it so it was illegal to be a Native American on the surrounding areas. And
Yeah.
because his wife was one of these people, she also had to go. And she and her 6 children that she had with him up and left. And that's like one of the first things I learned once I walk in. I was like, and we're just here like celebrating this guy. And I'm talking to the woman who's, the historical, like she's like a docent there. And she's like, it's not that we are celebrating these people, it's that we are acknowledging the story and trying to tell the full truth of these people's lives. And I thought that was really interesting because, I lived in Fredericksburg, Virginia for a while where they have, there are spots there are like memorials in some spots, statues in others, markers of like places where slave auction blocks were. And places where there's like Civil War generals, where there's statues. And for a while, everyone was like pulling them down. And I do wonder sometimes, like, how do we walk the path of like, we don't want to forget these things happened. We want to make sure kids know, because if we don't learn from history, we are doomed to repeat it. And so I don't know. I just kept thinking that when I was at Conner Prairie, because I'm like, okay, this is kind of a cool place. You get to see how they lived in the early 1800s. And fun fact, Indiana, it was never legal for people in Indiana to own slaves. Maybe I'm really like completely oblivious to this, but I always thought pre-Civil War that there was slavery all across the country. I didn't
I
realize
thought the
that.
same thing. I thought it was like a national thing.
No. So the whole thing about it being states' rights is that there were some states that allowed it and some states that didn't. And Indiana was one of the
Uh-huh.
ones that never allowed it. And so even on Conner Prairie, where he booted his wife and his 6 children, he would have never had he would have never had slaves, which I thought was
And
really
I ain't gonna lie, I didn't know we had Indiana back then.
back then. Oh yeah. Well,
I didn't
so
know we got over there yet. I thought it was just this side. I thought it was the East Coast. That
I
was
don't
all
want
we
to
had.
in the 1800s.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak super confidently on this because I am not great, obviously, at history nor at geography. Um, I don't think that the borders of Indiana are what they are today during that era, because all of this was going on like it was right before the Trail of Tears, I think, with Andrew Jackson and all of that. So there was like just a lot of upheaval and a lot of really horrible things happening. And yet we have this place where you can go and do summer camps and go learn about this family. And you can go and pretend to be like a little like pioneer kid. And I'm like, yeah, but how do we feel about that? Like,
We got
I don't know.
Indiana in 1816.
Okay, there you go.
I
And
Googled
Steve
when did we get Indiana. So here's how bad I am. I'm sitting here talking about how I went to this camp about World War II and the Holocaust. And talking about, yeah, it's 'cause I liked history, but I ain't gonna lie, when we fought the Civil War, I thought it was still only 13 colonies. I thought that's who was beefing.
was the
I didn't know we had
colonies.
picked up some more of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kinda don't know what's going on. We probably need to go to some more of them camps on some different can we get some geography in there? I
Yeah.
still like I remember we talked about it, just found out where Alaska was, like, a few months ago. Still a little shaky on Hawaii.
Yeah. There's been a lot of learning on this podcast already.
Yeah.
Although I honestly, I could like Stephen needs to come on and probably explain that and medical stuff to us because Stephen's very knowledgeable in Civil War history. I should be better because I did live in Virginia for like 8 years and lived on a battlefield. Like the house we had at one point, there was just like Spotsylvania battlefield kind of went right there.
Have you ever been to
Um,
Gettysburg?
I have, yes.
Gettysburg, pretty cool.
Okay, I have a question for you because
Okay.
in Gettysburg, when I was there was one of the docents who had known a direct descendant of a Civil War soldier. So, like, this really old guy who used to go and do the historical walking tours and stuff. His father had fought in the Civil War, right? And so this guy was telling us
Okay.
about his like the firsthand experience of what it was like having a parent who had been in the Civil War. And so that made it feel like very recent to me. But I was thinking about this because one of the things you can do if you go to Gettysburg is you can go on a ghost tour.
Okay.
How long does it have to be from the event for people to start being okay with there being ghost tours? Like at what era would you be like, "Whoa, that's really insensitive. What are we doing here?" Like what era would give you like a little
I
bit of the
kinda
ick?
feel like we're done. Like, I feel like if we don't already do ghost tours about, we shouldn't start.
Interesting. So like you can't no new ghost tours then is what you're
Yeah,
saying.
nah, I mean, you can't do that. Using the Holocaust, for example, you can't do that.
I was thinking about this because I was like, "Wow, how weird would it be to be the guy who's the tour guide and you see people doing ghost tours of people you maybe knew?" Like, that's wild, and they do it at, like, houses where people have been murdered, they do it in, like, tragic locations. This because one of the spots they would take you to is, like, a Civil War hospital, right? And so I'm like, what how many years? I think probably once the direct descendants are no
I
longer.
I think that we should start doing ghost tours for random stuff now of people who knew the people, being like, "Yeah, y'all hear that door creaking? That's Ricky. He would eat anything for $20." Like, I think that would be sick.
That would actually be really funny, though,
Like, we
is if
one
it's
time
like,
saw this
"Let me
guy
tell
stick a
you."
jalapeno in his nose. Like, "Brr," you know? Like, I think that'd be hilarious.
I wanna go on record right now, if I have an untimely death, Jerry, I want you to be the docent for my ghost tour, and I want you to just make stuff up. Build lore around who I was and the way I would haunt people because I love the thought that, like, people would add a little razzle dazzle, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
it'd
don't
be
make it
like
boring. Be like,
I'd be like, "You see that little corner over there? Andrea used to do backflips in that corner, then throw shit at you when she landed." Like,
"She
stuff
did.
like that.
You never knew. You never knew what she was gonna do." I love the idea of that. I feel like maybe also if there's, like, some kind of blessing associated. I don't know. I think I'm also thinking along morbid lines because I just came back from New Orleans, and that place just talks about death all the time, and there's a lot of ghost tours, and there's a lot of, like, crazy history and all of that, and some of it's not that old, like, a lot of it is, but not all of it, and so that just made
What
me
are the ghost tours for in New Orleans?
so, if you've ever seen American Horror Story, they touch on a lot of this. But there was a woman who was a serial killer, she and her husband,
Okay.
and
Like, both of
they
them were serial killers, or she was a serial killer and she just towed her husband along with her?
they they think both because they don't think it's possible she could have done it alone.
Fair.
Um, but basically, she would take enslaved people either that worked in her home or from other places and lock them in her attic, and she would do all sorts of like horrible things to them and would like take their blood for beauty treatments and stuff.
Yeah, man,
And just did some of
that's
the
not cool.
yeah, some of the gnarliest stuff. So that's part of it. There also were several other spaces down there where like there was a doctor who was known as like the town abortionist and he had a fatality rate for the mother of somewhere around like 70 to 80%. And they say the reason it was so high was because he was just most of the women who came were either enslaved people they were or they were prostitutes. And so he would just do experiments on them because he knew he could get away with kind of doing whatever he wanted. So it's the darkest of dark
That one
stuff,
feels like that one shouldn't be a ghost story.
right? Exactly. And I
That
asked,
one feel like, for some reason, the serial killer one, I don't know, clocks a
you're
little
like fine
differently.
with that, but
Like, I feel like that one clocks differently, but then the one of the experiments, that one's sad. Like,
yeah, there's so many that are like that, and it made it awful. And I found out what happened to that doctor. Unfortunately, with both of those cases, so the doctor who would experiment on people, he eventually died of like dysentery. So he didn't die a horrible, horrible death. I don't think he ever got caught, which super bummed me out. But then also the woman who was like a serial killer, she got discovered because one of the people like was chained to an oven in her house and they
Huh.
started a fire. And when the house burned, they went and discovered that she was there and then discovered everything else. And she and her husband fled to New York, changed their names, fled to Europe, and we don't know what happened to them after that.
Oh, okay.
Super bummed me out. So
Do you
just thought
think
I'd
people
share.
who's like family, like, do they talk about real ghosts, like ghosts of real people, or like talk about real people who passed, or they kind of like take those names out of it and just talk about the perpetrators? Because I'm wondering if the people's, if like, if somebody got by that doctor or got by that serial killer, or the people who got are they getting money for this? Like, is their
I
family?
mean, their family's not getting money because most of those people, we never got their names. But I can tell you some of the ghosts that they attribute around New Orleans, they do have names for. Um, for example, at the big cathedral that's in downtown New Orleans, there is a priest that they name, and I can't remember his name, that they say actually walks back and forth in this very specific hallway
Oh
because
wow.
he refused to ring the bell because
Oh,
it was, I can't remember, it was a holiday of some kind. He refused to ring the bell when somebody said, "Hey, there's a fire next door." And it was one of the like biggest fire, like it burned down like 80% of New Orleans. And then he ends up dying like a few years later. And so they say that like he walks that hallway. So some of the people they have names for, but yeah.
in the town I'm from, they had this chicken plant fire because they were making like chicken nuggets and stuff in there, and apparently like people kept stealing chicken nuggets to like feed their families. They weren't getting paid much money.
Okay.
So the owner or manager or whatever, he left one night and like I guess was mad they were stealing, and he locked the door and like locked them in, and the place caught on fire, everybody died.
Oh my gosh. When was that?
A while ago. I wasn't alive yet. I don't remember. I maybe 88?
Mm, that's
I can't
crazy.
remember though. If anybody from my hometown heard this, I probably got some of that wrong, and you can
Mind
argue
your
with your
business.
mama. I don't know. There's probably a memorial down there. We can go get the real story. That's why I remember being told what happened. Now, for some reason, 88 is what clicks in my head. Like it wasn't a super long ago thing,
Yeah,
but it
let's
was
calm
like
down with
I
calling it a
wasn't around.
super long time ago because I was born in '87. But
Yeah, like
um,
I said, super like long as hell, like a long time, like a long time ago. Like
um, I think that's fascinating. I think we need to have a ghost episode when it comes to fall, and we'll
I
we'll
think
talk
the
about all
hell
the.
not. Mm-mm. No, I don't
To be
play that.
fun. I mean, we're not going
No.
to do like a séance or anything, but okay.
Like, we
Let's
gotta have
take.
a ghost on?
Yeah, that's what we're going to do, Jerry. Come on, get your head in the game. All right, guys, we are going to take a quick break, and then I've got some fan questions for us, so we will be right back.
Have you ever wondered what I would say if my mother and my administrators weren't watching every single thing I do on social media? Well, that's exactly what my stand up show is. And I'm going to be coming to a town near you super soon. You can get tickets at educatorandrea.com/tickets.
Welcome back, teacher besties. Okay, so I know quite a few future teachers that are about to get into the classroom for the first time. And so I had a couple of them ask some questions about going into the classroom for the first time. So the first thing that they asked was, "What are some things that people told you would need but were overrated?" So things that when you first started teaching, people were like, "Oh, you have to get fill in the blank."
I I have sticky notes galore.
Mm,
Like, I don't use sticky notes for nothing. I kinda just if I have to write a password, I pick up the closest thing to me.
yeah.
I quit with hall passes because they always go missing or getting torn up. At one point, I tried to use a football helmet. I was like, "Nah, one of these kids gonna bang the other one in the head. I ain't doing
Yeah.
that." But, like, I'll just kinda be like, "Just go pick that up." They're not gonna question you if you carrying something. Um, I've never, like, used a basket or anything for them to turn in.
Like,
Like,
no
"Gotta put your
crates,
paper in that
nothing
basket?"
like
No.
that?
I'm like, "Go put it on the desk of it. I'll grab it later."
Wow. Yeah. I definitely had to have, like, a whole system for turning stuff in. That way especially I like having the physical papers turned in, so that way I have a physical manifestation of how behind grading I am. Um, Man, I think that highlighters, I thought I would need so many highlighters. I had
No.
so many. Teachers really don't use it that often. Like basically for kids to borrow. If you're annotating something and you're having your students do that and you need to have some for them to borrow, I guess. But like rarely did I ever.
Yeah.
What about the opposite? Is there anything that you're like, people definitely need?
It's not so much an item, but trying to find a system for when kids ask to go to the bathroom. Because
Mm,
I hate being interrupted, like, be in the middle of something, they hold the hand up and ask to go to the bathroom. I'm like, "No, don't ask me
yeah.
when I'm in the middle of talking." And I've thought about should I do a Google form where I can go check, but I think that, like, makes it well, a bunch of them be like, "It's Google form, Imma go get to it first, and it's gonna be the same names in order." Um, I have, like, a sign out sheet, so you gotta sign out and take a pass. Um, I think, like, that's a system that I wasn't prepared, like, for what to do, but I got so aggravated with the bathroom stuff that I, like, came up with something like, "Nah, I gotta have a system for going to the bathroom."
Yeah, I'd agree with that, especially because in some schools, I don't know, I remember there were like 2 or 3 different times when I at different and I think these were at different schools where they would have some kind of system that they're like, "Hey guys, this is gonna be the new thing. Kids are gonna, like, scan in and scan out to go to the
That's stupid.
bathroom," and it never worked. It never once worked, and they were all like, "Oh, it's gonna be great. We're not gonna have to worry about it. It's gonna be, like, on their" I think it was, like, on their student ID, but then, of course, kids never had their student ID, and it just yeah, it was a complete waste of district money, and honestly, for what? Like, it's not that hard to either write down something really quick or have them sign out or something like that.
I know some teachers use, like, a Google form on, like, an extra laptop,
Mm. Just, like, sitting
and
in the
I was like
corner?
yeah, and I was like, "Nah, I ain't doing all that. Nah, they can sign
Yeah.
this notebook."
I think I think along those lines, though, I think teaching kids routines of things that you think should go without saying is important. So, like, if kids come in on day 1 and are acting absolutely out of hand, make them go back out and practice coming in well, because they will hate it. They'll be annoyed by it. But the reality is like sometimes they do need to be taught. Like we don't come in and start,
I've
acting
done
a
that before.
fool. Yeah. I mean, sometimes you have to because if they don't know how to behave, you got to do it. And I
When
think when you're like a first year teacher, you're like nervous about doing stuff like that. You're like, oh, that's kind of dumb. And it's like, well, yeah, that's the point. Piss them off. Piss them off enough to be like, guys, come on, let's just do this and move on.
sometimes when they don't close the door when they go in or out, when they come back, I'll be like, "Alright, open the door." They'll open it, and I'll close it. Now open it again. Now close it. Now open it again. Now close it. And I'll go however long you think I do that for, I do it a little longer. Like we'll kill about 10 minutes. I mean, doing it. I'll be like, go sit down. Don't leave my door open again.
And I bet
I
they
don't like the
won't.
noise in the hallway.
Yeah.
They do not. I got
Yeah.
some kids like I clocked it today. I was like, man, if I had a little more energy,
Yeah.
oh, I'd have them open that door 70 times. I'm fed up. I hate it, especially my room's right by the cafeteria.
So it's
They come
always
down,
loud.
I don't wanna hear all that.
Yeah.
Like, it get on my nerves, and some of y'all be coming by my room yelling. I'm like, "Let one of my kids yell in the hallway. I'll be out there yelling too."
Yeah. Okay, so the other question they had was, what are some things you wish you knew before you became a teacher?
That we ain't really know what we were doing. Like, the teachers like some days you show up, you're like, "Ooh, I don't got nothing," and you just kinda
Yeah.
figuring it out. Like, I'd be guessing most of the time. I was like, I don't know." Like, there's sometimes kids ask me a question, I'll just answer them. 'em. I'll be like, "I don't know if that was right or not." Like, I do that
Yeah.
now. My
Mhm.
daily I told you that story about the chicken plant. I don't know if that's what happened. I know something happened. Plant burned down. I told you a story. It happened. So there's something. We can Google it. I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'll be like, yeah, whatever. I remembered it different. But like, yeah, I'll just try and talk. I'll be like, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know what's going on. I remember like my first day, I was this teacher's assistant, and I remember thinking, oh, y'all don't know what you're doing. Like y'all
Yeah.
are, we all are kind of just out here. Like I was there for like a week, and I felt like I'd been there for like 5 years. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I got this down. This is easy.
Yeah. I think that is one of those things that like before you actually start teaching, you really think everybody else is like fully prepared, has it all together, knows exactly what they're going to do. And like to some extent, I feel like you do get into a routine where you're not scrambling as much, but there are still going to be
Yeah.
days. And I think that that's the thing that you don't realize is like, there's going to be days where you're just showing up and you're like, oh, I thought I had made copies of that. I don't have that. We definitely can't do that activity without those copies. I don't have time to go get them right now. So let's pivot. And we're gonna, you know what, guys? How about we have a goal setting day today? You're welcome. Have a seat. Let's get to work. Like, because you can't let them know that we don't know, because that doesn't help.
Oh, mine is always, hey guys, we're gonna watch Shark Tank. Answer these questions to go with it, and we chilling. Or it's like, guys, I'm missing so many assignments. Hey, how many assignments missing some of the time? Like, and that's the thing. Some of the classes there is, some of them there's not, and they don't know which is which. They don't know who's missing what.
Yeah.
I'll be like, hey guys, do a catch up work.
Yeah. Okay. I actually today do in fact have a hill that I'm gonna die on.
Shocker.
Well, it's okay. It's less of a hill I'm gonna die on. It's more of a query, a question, if you will.
I thought a query was like a little river.
I don't
Am I
know what
wrong?
he thinks. I don't know. I don't think quarry. Are you thinking of quarry?
That one.
Okay.
I thought that's what I'm thinking quarry lays. That's where they keep some rocks and water. Like it's like a little
Yes.
pond.
Correct.
Like
Yeah.
you ever been to like a buffet or something? It's the guy right in the front. It's like, look at that little quarry with the fish in it.
Aquarium.
No, a quarry, like a little pond.
A quarry is big, I think.
I don't know what I'm talking about. Do your little hill thing. I ain't gonna lie. I lost the grip on what I was talking about like several
Great.
sentences ago. I was like, I gotta get out of this. I think
Great.
I'm just gonna take the L here.
Love that for us.
My
Okay.
bad.
All right. So my question is, hey, so if the Federal Department of Education was going to shut down, why are they still making stupid rules without any kind of like research or backup or anything? Like, I thought you guys were going away. Instead, they decided, I guess they're going to stick around, but they're going to do stuff worse. And it's pissing me all the way off because because of my algorithm, got fed like this little Instagram thing from McMahon, and that she was saying how she's gonna, they're gonna try and fix higher ed and all of this stuff. And I'm like, how could I can't, I thought, like, if you're gonna go away and give it back to the States, what are you doing? Why are you still here? It's been how many years? What are we doing? All right.
So
I saw your
okay,
hand. Yes, Gerry.
I don't know nothing about none of that. I stay in my little bubble. But I've heard this McMahon, and
Correct.
I assume she's in the government. She's the president or something. Listen,
Yes,
is that the
Gerry.
same WWE McMahon?
It sure is. So
All
yeah,
right.
she is. She's
Okay. All right. Yeah.
so it's Linda. It's his wife.
We should let the WWE run things for a while.
Well, that's basically what we've been doing. Didn't you hear that
President Stone Cold Steve Austin?
well, first of all, I think Steve Austin actually is running for something.
It might
And
be.
second of all, you know that they're building an MMA like stadium on one of the lawns at the White House. Are you aware of this?
Yeah, and that's their business.
I can't. I
I
can't.
I won't speak on nothing going. I don't know what's going on. I just be seeing stuff in the news. I'd be like, "Is that real?" I'm like, "All right, okay."
I
Listen. I got my figures,
I know
and this
you
is what
do.
my world is.
You just
Is
were
I care
working
about
and
these little
trying to
guys.
find a way to talk about your Spider-Man figurines that you got.
If I had been more intentional, I'm thinking about trying to turn it so you can see these
You
while I'm
should.
doing the podcast. I need to figure out because it's a corner shelf. But I want to turn my desk crooked, but I might could just like sit like this, but I got all this light coming in. Oh, this is
Yeah.
kind of cute. Yeah, I like
There
this.
you go. Yeah. What's
Yeah.
up, ladies?
Gang, gang. Yeah, we doing this. Yeah, but listen, look, I don't know what McMahon or none of them's doing. I don't
Uh-huh.
know who they fighting at the White
Okay.
House.
I mean,
I don't know what kind of education they got going on. I just know I show up to work.
uh-huh.
I go by a little spot. Now it's probably that Daredevil right there. I don't know if y'all can see.
Yeah.
It's cool. I was happy about that.
It's good. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
and
it makes me feel some type of way because some of the things they're doing, Gerry, let me educate you. Some of the things they're doing is cutting funding and like being very specific about their grants and the language around who gets money and who doesn't in the university system. And obviously, since I work in the university system within the Department of Education, I'm seeing all the different ways, which I've talked about on here before, that they're like really whittling down how much training you need to become a teacher, and all of that. So I can't with one more friggin' Instagram post from the Department of Education that they said they were dismantling, but instead they've decided they're going to put all these mandates out, which is crazy because I'm like, hey, why are you guys putting mandates out? Because you said you weren't going to do that anymore as a federal government. You're going to give back to the states. So what's going on? But that's neither here nor there.
I don't really know nothing about what's going on. I know they got to get rid of this edTPA. I don't know why I'm doing this.
I need you to update the people. How's your edTPA going?
It's going. I'm still kind of figuring it out, but it's going to be done by next Thursday.
I love it.
I've been teaching the lessons this week and recording them, and I think they're going okay. And I think that's even part of it. Is even if they don't go okay, recognize what didn't go okay and plan for next time.
Yeah.
Like I don't know anybody's ever failed. I've never talked to anybody who's failed.
I've known some.
Don't tell me that. No,
Sorry.
I like to
I
think
want you to have
that
the
this is
appropriate
just a
level
gimme.
of fear, Gerry. Some people do fail the edTPA. Most don't.
I mean, I know it's not a layup.
Right.
But
Most
also,
don't.
I got game, baby. It don't need to be a layup. I'm shifty. I got moves.
You're gonna Patoka it. We've discussed this.
I'm gonna Patoka it. But
I love it.
It's just me and my figures against the world for real. And that's what my life is, I think. And I forgot we gotta get rid of it. Because I'm like next year, assuming things work out, I'm gonna be in my 5th year. Wait, I don't know when you become a veteran teacher, but I feel like I got battle scars. Like I think I've been here for a minute. I was a teacher assistant for most of a school year before that. This is my 5th year in education. I'll be starting my 6th year in education, and it'll be my 1st year with a teaching license. Why do I need to do an edTPA to prove to y'all I can do my job?
Yeah. I would say year 7 is when you become a veteran teacher, is my opinion. That's when I really felt like, what are you going to do? Like nothing. There's nothing you've got. Like, I've seen it. I'm not upset about it. It is what it is. Like, you do kind of like rut, because years like 1 through 3, you're just figuring out what you're doing, trying to figure out what you like, what you don't like, how you want to run things. And then you really kind of get into a rhythm like 3 through 5. I think 7 is really where it hits. Although COVID years, learning how to teach during the pandemic might give you some like dog years of experience. So I think that maybe counts for more.
Yeah, but my first 3 years, I did 3 different things.
Even more so.
I was
honestly.
special education teacher assistant. I taught PE and now taught CTE. I'm like, yo, I'm a dog.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that counts as more. You get bonus years in there. And then soon you're going to also be fully licensed. Go team.
We'll see how this edTPA goes. Now, apparently, I know people fail it. But that's the thing, is in North Carolina, you have to take it to become a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And we got some folks running around here that I'm like, how you did it? Okay. Like,
that is, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like,
nothing builds more confidence in being able to do something than meeting an idiot who did that thing.
Yeah, I'm like, y'all are dumb.
Yeah.
Like, some of y'all are stupid. And y'all did it. I can do that. Like,
it's perfect. I love that.
I kind of just figure I'm a Patoka. I'm gonna lock in this weekend. I'm gonna do it. I've already got the videos. Yeah, I think we're good.
I love it.
If anybody on here, they ain't gonna hear it. By the time we hear this, we're gonna know my fate. I was about to say, if anybody on here listens to this and is a grader for it or knows anything about it, DM me.
That's right.
Like next week's episode next week is the day it's due, next Thursday.
Yeah. So it better be done before we start recording. Otherwise, you'll just be like crying.
Otherwise, it might be you talking to. It might be you and your children.
That's right.
Here. I'm like, look, I need a week off.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna lock in.
I love it. I think that's a perfect place to leave it this week. So, guys, thank you so much. If you have thoughts about what we talked about today, like what were some things that people told you would need, but you actually thought was super overrated, or advice that you wish you had before you became a teacher, then let us know. You can email me, Andrea@human-content.com, or you can contact the whole Human Content Podcast family on Instagram and TikTok at Human Content Pods. You can get those full video episodes are up every week on YouTube at Educator Andrea. Thank you so much for listening. I'm your host, Andrea Forka.
I'm Gerry Patoka.
And our executive producers are Andrew Forkham, Aaron Corney, Rob Goldman, and Shanti Brook. Our editor is Andrew Sims. Our engineer is Jason Pertizo. Our music is by Omer Ben-Zvi. To learn more about How to Survive the Classroom's program, disclaimer, and ethics policy, and submission, verification, and licensing terms, you can go to podcasterandrea.com. How to Survive the Classroom is a Human Content production.
How to survive the classroom.
Thank you so much for watching. Want more of How to Survive the Classroom? You can watch more episodes right now. Just click on that little box over there. You see it? And if you haven't yet, please subscribe. Okay, bye.